The first question I actually did want to ask you is, so I noticed in like a lot of your art, I was gonna say photos, but art. I'm used to talking
Mhm.
to photographers, um, but a
Great.
lot of your art, I feel like your most recent stuff at least, it's as if I'm like kind of looking at like your perspective, if that's it, I feel like if that's in the right way to say it, but um like kind of like looking in someone else's perspective, like at the pool table art. I really like that one because it's like I feel as if like it's a piece done from your like perspective and you're showing off that like culture that's there. I want to ask you like
Mhm.
how important like your culture is in your art.
Yeah, I would say it's it's the main part of my art. And I guess the word for me that I use is identity,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that, I've always come back to and been always so confused about it. I grew up and still grow up now, but
Mm-hmm.
grew up white and black. Like my dad's
Yeah.
from Jamaica and my mom's Canadian. And like growing up in Oakville, it was very white and didn't really know my identity and just kind of connected with people around me. And there wasn't anyone like myself or my brother.
Mm.
Just being mixed kids in Oakville, you were either white or black or Asian, any other race,
Yeah.
but and it was predominantly white in Oakville. So we kind of connected with that side more, but also connected with people that weren't the same color of skin that like everyone else was, and it was strange to grow up there because identity was something that we just had to make up for ourselves.
Yeah, I can relate to
Um,
that.
and then when I came to university, I met other people. Like I went to university at OCAD,
Yeah.
and I went for photography there. And yeah, like I met kids that were close to the same race as me, and I met people that were light skinned but didn't really come off as light skinned. They'd be passing as white or passing as black,
Mm-hmm.
and it was cool because I never really met anyone else like that. And there's all these other kids coming from like Brampton and Markham and Etobicoke and Scarborough coming to OCAD making art about the same stuff that I was thinking about. And that's when I started like really thinking about identity as a medium, and then identity as like a subject to like really attack and try and figure out. And I'm still trying to figure it out. I really don't know what I am, or I don't know what to identify with yet.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's kind of like what my art is about right now. It's always changing, like you said, like always going through different forms. But um, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to tackle right now and figure out with my own art and within myself. And I guess using the word perspective is a good way of describing it, because a lot of my paintings are from an early perspective or from a future perspective of like
Yeah.
seeing either other people that I can imagine or recognize, or painting from like archived images of family images and old family photos, I guess would be more correct. And just like from my perspective, seeing this stuff as someone who is a passing white male,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of where and what all my work stems from. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I want to ask, have you ever had anyone like, cause your art goes with your identity. Have you ever had anyone when you made art, like when you post something on Instagram, for example, or anything? Have you had anyone like kind of talk to you negatively about it, or like hate on it, or like basically say something about it, or has it mostly been like positive, like chill people?
I get both. It's strange, you know, like it's funny because when I do post something, um, or like create something, it's usually not, you know, people of color who are mad at me, or
Mhm.
like, or not. I won't say mad, but like confused about it. It's people that are white
Yeah.
and very strongly white, and they get confused and they're like, "Are you allowed to make that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Who are you to say? Like, who am I
Yeah.
to say?" So it's funny, and I think right now a lot of my work is just like I just make it and put it out there, and if you like it, cool, and if you don't, well, I don't know, fuck it. I
Yeah.
hate to say it so clearly, but that's kind of how I feel. And you know, I don't even know if I'm allowed to make the work. I just make it and see how it does.
It just kind of like flows out. Like it just kind of
Yeah,
happens more so.
yeah. So
Did
people will like you're always gonna have a critic that doesn't like it or someone that
yeah.
doesn't agree with it, and that's fine because then you just make more work and
Mhm.
you just make things that are better or worse, and it like it's the whole idea of process, right? So
Yeah. Like trial and
yeah,
error.
exactly. Yeah, you gotta like so cheesy, but it's true, and you gotta like fall to get back up, you know.
Did
So
going to OCAD help you, I guess, be more confident with your identity? Not like in the sense of like with your art at least, like posting like kind of like I don't know how to word this, but like when you got to OCAD, you saw like more people like around you that are sort of like you and connect with. Did like
mhm.
that help with your art in a sense of having more community and like people like you around rather than just having like being outcasted and like uh not being around people like that feel the way you feel?
Yeah, it was. I didn't really think about my own identity until um, I had my first teacher that was of a minority.
Hmm.
Which sounds crazy. Like I think about, I'm just thinking about it now, and like all my teachers in elementary school and all my teachers in high school were white, and I never saw like representation in school like that.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until one of my profs asked me at OCAD, like, where did you come from? Like, quite blankly, she asked, like, in
Yeah.
order to know where you are going, you got to know where you came from, and that stuck with me really hard because I was like, I don't know where I came from. I don't
Don't
know,
really know. Yeah.
you know. I mean, I sent off a 23andMe a couple of weeks ago, but that's about it. So we'll see how that comes. But yeah, I don't really know, and all I know is like from family, and I can just feed off of that, and yeah, it's when I started seeing and meeting people that were like me or had faced the same kind of questions that I did,
Hmm.
then that's when I started really thinking about making work that could be controversial and work that could be kind of, you know, stepping a little close to being out of bounds
Yeah.
and not really being the norm.
Hmm.
And I just want to kind of push myself to make work that I even question, you know, and like make work that rubs people the wrong way, but also makes them feel kind of connected. The whole goal of it is to like other people that are born mixed race, that they could connect with my work and feel like they have a sense of community. And you know, I felt I didn't really see that as a kid, so if I can make that for someone, that's cool.
Yeah. Kind of
And
making it in the and like in Because like we're at a point where like you're seeing everything on Instagram. If you could provide that in just like someone's feed, even.
Yeah, it's so everything's so accessible now, right? And yeah, I'm not saying like I'm famous or anything, because I'm not, but I think it's cool if someone, you know, relates to me, and I'll get a DM from someone, or I'll DM someone that maybe feels the same way, and be like, yo, just know like there's other people out here that are going through the same shit. You're not alone in it. And like, I don't know, I'm not trying to make it sound like a sad story either. It's
No,
just
no, no.
like,
You're good. You're good. You're just
yeah,
explaining how it is, basically.
yeah, it's just
Which I
like,
understand and I can relate to, right?
yeah. So I feel like mixed kids go through shit so silently, because, you know, I'll be on the bus and there'll be two kids in high school singing a song, and they say the N word, and I'm like, whoa, can't really say that. And I'll see the black lady standing beside me just put her head down, and I'm kind of stuck in the middle. Like, she's looking at me, I'm looking at the kids, like they can't say that word. She's looking at me like, you can't say that word. I'm like, I know I can't say that word, but I just apologize to her, you know, that happened, that stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
You see stuff as like, you see things as a passing person that other people don't really see, and that's fine. It's just a way of dealing with it, you know, and like figuring out a way to like, just, if you can improve a little bit every day, then it's cool. And you know, it's, for me, it's just making art and trying to educate others on that too. Something that's not always pretty. Like, you don't always have to paint a pretty picture to make someone feel something, you know. People don't always have to feel happy either.
Yeah,
Sounds really, I'm not trying to be evil, but people.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're just you're just telling how it is. Basically, you're kind of giving us the realism of it. Like, you can't always like have a picture that's like 10 out of 10, but if it makes someone feel something, like if it gives feeling and emotion out of someone, then it did its job and it served its purpose.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the path I'm trying to take, and you know, I haven't really been creating lately. I've just kind of been thinking more, and I go through those dry phases, and I try and tell myself that they're okay. Because, you know,
I think they are, yeah. Because if you tell yourself they're not, then you're gonna just like spin
just
yourself more in you should be a negative cycle, right?
Exactly. And yeah, it's okay to have those dry spells, because, you know, it gives you time to think, and you're allowed to do that, and you can do other things, you know. And I have a friend, his name is Nathan Carson. He's a really cool artist, and he went to OCAD and graduated, and didn't really, you know, his graduation wasn't what he expected. He saw other people that were in the same year as him and in the same class as him, like, get shows and start showing their work, and he wasn't getting that same exposure. And he, you know, he did what anyone else would do, is just like find a job and make money, and you know, he did that for a while, and it wasn't until like 10-15 years after he started making work. And you know, he talks about it as his downloading period. You should really check him out. He's a really cool guy. He's gonna be the artist in residence at the Art Gallery of Hamilton, so pretty high up there, pretty cool guy. But you know, like, he talks to me about that being his downloading period. Like, he took 10-15 years off to just think and download and think about what he wants to make work of, and make work about, because maybe at the time he felt like something wasn't important enough to make work, or he would make the work and people didn't find it important,
Mhm.
you know. So it's so crazy because things are it's all about what's relevant, and you know, if you're making work that's not relevant, people don't think it's good. So
Or it's like
it's tough.
up to speed, yeah, up to par.
Yeah, yeah. I know so many people that are like, "Oh, I'm not BIPOC. I'm not LGB. I'm not indigenous. I can't get anything nowadays." I'm like, the stuff you are making now, maybe it's not relevant. I don't know. It's tough because, you know, I also feel that way. I don't fit into every category, and there's calls for certain things. There's calls for, you know, call for submissions for all different minorities, but
Mhm.
you know, you got to make work that's relevant, and if you can't, you got to support it. So, you know, and you keep going with your own thing because one day it will come out and be the right time, or you know.
It'll be the moment that you've been
Yeah,
like working towards.
yeah, exactly. You gotta really work for yourself before you work for other things, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta be happy with your own work in order for other people to like it too. And
Exactly.
confident in it. It's tough being confident in your own
It's
work.
tough.
That's
It's
not easy.
that's probably the hardest part, I'd say.
Yeah, I have a solo show coming up. It's still in the works, but I have a solo
Mm.
show with a gallery called Band. Uh,
Oh.
it's a gallery in Toronto. Um, and it's founded by some really cool people. One of them is now the curator of the AGO, which is really cool.
Wow.
So I'm pretty hyped on this. But yeah, I got a solo show with this. It's a black gallery, and you know,
Oh, that's exciting.
the gallery supports my work and thinks that it's relevant. So it's exciting to be able to show it them. I don't know the exact dates, but I can let you know when it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, for sure. That'd be fire.
it's
I had one more question.
yeah, for sure.
So I see you do like a lot of mediums. So like you do like painting and artwork. I want to know how like where did it start? Did it start with art, like painting, or did it start with photography, or like messing around like Photoshop, mixed media, or like I even seen you did like something with like Patrick with clothes. Like where did it
Hmm.
like stem from, and like how did you like grow it out from there? And like how do you? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a loaded question. I'm sorry. Um,
That's good.
how do you kind of so if you have an idea, how do you know which art form to put it with? You know what I mean? Like instead of doing
Hmm.
a photo or mixed media, you do an art piece, or instead of doing art piece, you do um, like some type of uh, mixed photography thing or graphic work. How do
Hmm.
you like
Yeah.
kind of guide your idea or thought to a certain piece, or not a certain piece, a certain genre, I guess, like of either
Hmm.
art or photography or etc.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good question. Um, it's tough, and you know, I went to school for photography,
Mhm.
and my thesis I did in photography, and I took maybe 3 photos that whole that whole thesis, and I didn't really want to take photos. I wasn't feeling it. I did thesis online that sucked, but I got a studio with 2 of my friends that were also doing school, and you know, I was like, I can't. A lot of my work at the time, right before COVID hit, was photography, and I was taking photos of family members, and I was taking self portraits, and I was, you know, I was gonna take photos of people that were also mixed race and like go and do
Mhm.
stuff like that. And then COVID hit, and I was like, all right, I can't do any of that. That's
Yeah.
great, you know. And so what I could do is you know, I was lucky enough that I had some savings, so I got a studio with two of my friends and started painting what I wanted to take photos of. Because I couldn't take those photos, I was like, all right, I'll just paint these photos and call them photographs or call them images or whatever, you know. And I painted like situations I couldn't be there for, and stuff that, you know, I imagined in my own head, or stuff that happened in the past that I wanted to paint now, you know, like little situations that I was in. I could now paint it instead of wanting to photograph that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can't photograph everything. Sometimes a photo won't work for what you want to say. So you have to think about what else will, and what will work for what you do want to say. And sometimes that's like printing on a piece of fabric and sewing it onto a pillow, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just an example, but that's something that I did in the past. And you know, I used to date this girl that was in art and curatorial practice at OCAD.
Okay.
One thing that she said to me that really stuck with me was that after you make the work, you can really talk about what it's about, you know? And like, it made so much sense to me, because sometimes I'll make work, I'll just sit in the corner of my room for like a week, or, you know, could be a year. And then I'll paint something else or take a photo of something else. I'm like, oh my God, it goes with that. I'm gonna put that together and like make it one thing, you know? Or like, I have an old photo and a new painting, and I'll put it together and I'll make it something new. Or I'll invert it and do whatever with it, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of just depends on what you want to do and what you want to say. Because it's hard to make it so clear and so obvious, because it's not.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to create something, you gotta experiment too. You gotta see what else works. And a lot of the times at school, even I love school, and I hate saying that, but I love school. It's so expensive,
Yeah.
but art school for me was really good because it gave me a reason to create. And being, you know, on your own, now I'm graduated. Yes, now I have a show, so I have a reason to create work. But you know, before you get a show, you're just like, I don't even know if I want to make work anymore. Like, what's the purpose? I have no one to judge my work anymore. I just, you know, your goal is just to survive, just to like make
Just to
enough
make it
for
through.
rent, make enough for food, all that stuff, right? So you got other worries, but I love school for that one reason, is because you get that feedback, you get that immediate like reassurance that either your work is good or it's not. And that was the one thing that I really liked about art school. But you know, now you just gotta kind of create and experiment and trust yourself to make good work and make work that matters, and you could really like move forward with.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of where whatever I want to make, I always have to think before
Before doing it, yeah.
Yeah,
And how you want to how you want to tell it, really.
Yeah. And it's tough because, you know, right now I don't really know what I want to make. I got burnt out pretty quickly, and I painted a bunch of things really quickly, and so now I'm like, I don't want to paint anymore. And I have a canvas sitting on my easel. It's been up there for about 2 weeks. I'm just like, I'm not gonna paint this thing ever, am I? But you know, one day something will strike me and I'll paint something. But right now, I'd rather hop on Fortnite, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, and play some games and like chill out. Yeah.
You
I
know,
also think
you work for a reward, I guess, sometimes too. right now that's what I'm into for whatever reason. But yeah.
I think it also has to do with like winter and everything. I think just a winter in general isn't like the most
For sure.
creative time for like sparks and everything. Because like again, like in summer, at least from my perspective, at least in summer, if you're going outside a lot more, you're seeing a lot more, you're doing a lot
Hmm.
more just in summer because it's warmer out, right? You're just out and seeing and experiencing a lot more things. So I feel like
So
winter,
true.
just in general, is it's a bad time because like
Yeah.
even for me with photography, I hate winters because I don't want to go outside and shoot photos with people, or I
It's
don't
so
want
true.
to travel to places that are far away now because there's snow on the roads and I want chance of getting
Yeah.
an accident, right?
Yeah. No, it's a pain. The wind, like
Yeah,
seasonal. We call it seasonal depression,
yeah,
and that stuff sucks. And I always think
yeah,
about that one. So cheesy. This one Drake lyric is "grind all winter, shine all summer," and I always
yeah.
think, I'm like, no, I can't do that. I hate the winter. Can't grind during the winter. That's not gonna happen. But
Literally,
I don't
but we
know. I
tried.
think it's
We
funny.
tried.
We try to do our best, but
Do what we can.
yeah. But it's good. I mean, the whole goal is just to create and educate and try and get something out there that someone else cares about, you know. And yeah, I'm not just gotta have fun with it. It's I'm not acting like I know everything about it either
Yeah,
because I don't. But
constantly learning.
that's what I've been told. That's what all the you know great artists say too. It's just like have fun, be yourself. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, do what you see, do what you love. Um,
Mm-hmm.
talk about things that you want to talk about, speak about, create the things that you want to see type of
Mm-hmm.
ordeal. I feel like a lot of people also aren't. I think a lot of people, at least in like the art medium, I'd say like traditional art at least, are very like at this point are very creative, but also um very held back by the
Mm-hmm.
thought of like, oh, like if I post this, people aren't gonna like it. People are just gonna like stop checking it out. Like things like that.
Yeah,
They aren't having fun with it anymore. Like once you get to like a certain
that's the
point where
thing.
like you're constantly seeing like people like checking you out and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you're not taking as many risks. You're just kind of going with what people enjoy, like what the people are kind of enjoying at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's a whole nother story. Like the algorithm is
Yeah,
so messed up right now. But um, yeah, like who cares? I'll post a photo and no one will like it, you know, and it's fine. You know, it will bum me out for a minute, but I'll be like, well, do I like it? And usually it's yeah because I posted it, right? You know,
yeah,
and that's all that you kind of need. You don't need anyone else to. It's nice when people validate you and
hmm
like your stuff, but you don't need that. Like you, it, I can't ignore that it is a good feeling, but you
yeah,
know you gotta be able to make yourself feel good in that sense, and you gotta be able to create work that you like, and you know it's not easy, but you gotta put in that work for yourself.
yeah. I
Yeah,
completely agree.
yeah,
Um, on that note, I think we're gonna wrap things up on the podcast.
yeah.
Forbes, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, my Instagram is just my name. It's Forbes Sang, and yeah, my website's linked to my Instagram. My you can feel free to email me. It's Forbes@forbesang.com, and yeah, yeah, that's me.
All right, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
everybody for
appreciate it.
listening. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and if you're watching on, and also if you're listening on any of those platforms, you can check us out on YouTube. And for any updates, talklypodcast.com. We shall see you guys next week. Thank you.